Join the tunes, but it is now time to tune in to the Black Love Club.
It's the Black Love Club, we on the radio. Turn the speaker up. You could tune in this live stream, but vibing and dial into the station. Join the conversation. Hey yo, say the Black Love Club is on the radio. You could tune into the live stream, just vibing and dial into the station. Hey yo, yeah, the Black Love Club, we on the radio.
And what's up? We are back. We are back in the building, you guys. I'm so excited to be back with you guys again. And it's me, Nikki Talks, and we are the Black Radio, you guys. Black Love Club. We are in here, and we have our amazing guest, a co-host, Edgar Prime and Richard Roos in the building. And I'm really, really excited today, you guys, for today's episode. We'll be talking about why do black men and women seem to be at war on social media. So this is going to be a great topic, you guys. But again, you guys, we are welcome back to the Black Radio. And we're here at Black Love Radio. We are here to remind you that black love is real, black love is strong, and black love still exists. So let's get into it. And we're gonna go jump right into our first segment of the day, Voices and Vision, with me, Nikki, where we're gonna talk about the current events that are happening. And I wanted to highlight just a couple of different stories that I've seen that was happening here that's been happening here in America. And the first one I'm going to talk about is this is a black dad, and his name is Chris Lewis. Now, he's a 24-year-old African-American father from Augusta, Georgia. He was arrested last week after he left his 3 young children alone at McDonald's while attending a nearby job interview. So that's Chris. And this incident has sparked debate and raised awareness about the struggles faced by parents without access to affordable childcare. Now, according to the Augusta Press, Chris was charged on March 22nd with deprivation of a minor after authorities found his children, ages 1, 6, and 10, unattended inside a fast food restaurant located on Washington Road. Now, the police say that Chris walked his children from their apartment to the McDonald's, which featured an indoor playground, and left them there while he went to his interview. Now, first of all, I find that to just be very strange and weird. And I want y'all to chime in and let me know how y'all feel about that, because honestly, I feel like it's a black father. It's not like he left them at home. They were like right there in the same establishment with him. And, I understand that, he did have a 1-year-old, but this man is definitely trying to do the best that he can. And I feel like that is a honorable thing that he brought his kids with him. He was like, look, we need this job. We need this money, but sometimes childcare can be very costly. And if you don't have a job, then guess what? What can you do? But I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Like, I thought it was really quick. Just a quick update. He does, to this date, he remains in custody. He's a father of 6 people, but this story has touched a nerve nationwide. The public response has opened up a larger conversation about how society can better support struggling parents, especially those who are simply trying to work and provide for their children without access to the basic help they need. And they also did start a GoFundMe for him, and which it surpassed like the 50, I think it was like 52,000, is at 63,000 right now. And I just think that's beautiful. And I really hope it helps him. I pray that the judge drops these charges, because this is a good black man. And we got some really great black men out here doing what they got to do. And we don't need that negativity, right? And we definitely don't need another father taken away from the home. Now, I wanted to highlight this other story in here. This is Dr. Velman Traham, and she has officially launched Home Access America. Now, this is a new modular housing manufacturer. Is the first Black-owned company in the United States capable of producing up to 100 homes per day. I think that is really big in the Black community, because a lot of times we say we gotta start owning the things, right? And I just love that she's out here, she's owning the thing, she's putting it out there. Now, this is really cool about it. I'm going to say Home Access in America is introducing 4 in-stock models and offering sustainable, affordable homes starting at $45,000 for a 3-bedroom unit. That is pretty cool. Using its proprietary building system, 5 to 10 non-skilled workers can assemble a 1,500 square foot home in less than a week. Homes are built in days, not months, and are engineered to be fireproof, hurricane resistant, waterproof, and resistant to rot and mold, delivering both speed and long-term durability without sacrificing quality. I think that's really, really beautiful. You know, this is Black people doing the thing, right? And I believe that is really awesome of her for doing this. So just shout out again to Dr. Velma Traham. And all of these articles have been provided by blacknews.com. And I really like that website because it highlights all of the great things that are happening in the Black community, you guys. So check it out. Also, we're just going to segue also into Anthony Edwards. Now, Anthony Edwards has been blowing up all on social media. Honestly, I have never even heard of him until social media. I was like, wow,
Dang.
this is, yeah.
Ant-Man?
Wow. Come on.
No, like, what he plays, basketball?
Oh,
Okay.
dang.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I
So
understand.
I don't really watch basketball, but he's out there playing basketball. But I think Anthony Edwards' situation, now we understand the whole want to pay child support up front so he won't have to deal with the lady. You know, that's what he's saying. And this is Anthony Edwards for the other people who don't know who he is. That's him. And that's the lady Aisha, who is the mother of the child. Now, Anthony wanted to pay that up, but I feel like this highlights a bigger issue in our community. One, the whole child support thing, but also I think it highlights how us as a people, we're not mindful of what we're doing with ourselves, right? Because he also has other baby mothers as well. And, you know, also it's like, it's such a big issue where we are out here just constantly procreating, and like no one's taking accountability. No one is taking accountability for what they're doing. Yeah. We all blame the other person. You know, I heard there was like a lot of back and forth going with her and him, but it's like we all want to blame the other person, but no one wants to take accountability. Like, look, I messed up too, right? So I just feel like it highlights a big thing. And you guys drop in the chat, do you guys think there is a war on social media between the Black man and the Black woman? Let us know what you guys think, because social media has definitely been, I feel like, amplifying a situation, and we need to talk about it, especially here at the Black Love Club, because that's what we do, right? So we also have a guest here on the show, and some of you guys, if you're from the beginning, you definitely remember him because he was on the show. He was actually on our first show, and he reminded us, he was like, but there was a little technical difficulties on that show, but it was definitely our first time. But he was on the show. We have Mr. Justin Brown back here, the flight attendant from all over the world. He is back in the building, and that's really exciting. So I can't wait to get in and talk more about him once we get into the topics, you guys. And of course, you know, we got Edgar Prime for prime time, and he got some dope stuff that he got to talk about.
Oh yeah, we got stuff to talk about today.
Look, he getting warmed up. He's rubbing. He got the Birdman.
I don't know.
Like,
Oh man,
he
got stuff
rubbing
to
his
talk
hands.
about today.
I don't know. It's
So-
about to go down.
Oh my gosh. But you guys, thank y'all for tuning in. We're about to get into the topic and share this. Let everybody else know that, hey, look, we on the air. So Richard Roos, go ahead and take it away.
Take it away. I ain't know I was taking it away.
Take
Look
it
like
away.
Edgar Prime over there charging up.
Man. You know, before you take it away, I did want to touch on the Anthony Edwards thing.
Come on.
Because this has been growing for a while. Like, this is, you know, for every action, there's a reaction. And so the whole my body, my choice was eventually going to have a reaction. And we've been talking about for a while that men have no sort of reproductive rights. We don't get any say in when the child is born. You know, we have a part to play in it and we're responsible for it, typically financially. But we don't really have a say in whether or not that child is born. That's solely on the mother. And so it's interesting that we've found ourselves at a time where a man is basically saying, hey, up front, I don't want this. I'll pay the child support up front. And then even saying, you know what, I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to do it or any of that stuff. I'm going to just get out in front of it, give you the money, all this other stuff. He still get heat for it. At the end of the day, it ain't nothing you can do. As a man, you're going to be responsible no matter what. It's just stuff out here. This is going to become more and more prevalent because there was always going to be a response to that stance.
Right. Now, I mean, I agree with that. Anthony Edwards, he's not only just a man, but he's a young black man.
Yes.
And on top of that, he's doing what most people wouldn't even do. He's actually putting up for that girl and her baby right in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So even if he didn't want to be a part of it, which he stated, he's still showing that, look, I'm going to support, you know, whether I'm not there or not. At least that's my viewpoint of it. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? That's a whole bunch of money to just be giving somebody like right up front and saying that you don't want anything to do with it. You got a lot to do with that. Because that's a lot of dollars.
Hey, my thoughts was, I don't know, this young lady didn't look into her at all, but I was like, dang, she must be terrible. Well, he's like, you know what? I'm going to get, I don't want nothing to do with this child. I'm going to give you the money up front. I don't want to see you again. He don't even want to, like, don't come knocking on my door for exchange of money, none of this. Look, take this money, and I don't have to see you again.
Yeah, now I want to chime in because I heard that originally, and this is all allegedly, I heard that allegedly she wanted to basically have full rights over the child, like not have him in the arrangement at all, but at the same time still wanting child support. Now, how we do that? Now that's crazy. We can't be doing that. Like so that's what I heard. So it's like it's really crazy that will happen. So that's probably why he's like, look, just take the money. And, you know, because you're not going to let me see the child. So, you know, allegedly, we don't know. But that's what we have. Now, definitely in the comments, they are saying that there is definitely a war between our copper women and men. I like that. Copper women. Okay. Okay. Copper women. All right.
Okay.
Young kind of copper. Okay. All right. I like that.
We rich in minerals.
Now, I do have a question. So, do y'all think that movies or music is actually helping or hurting the relationship between a black man and a black woman nowadays?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't. I definitely believe movies in the past had a horrible effect. That we're seeing a lot of the ramifications of that right now. The Color Purple, but outside of that, I do think music, media, all of those portrayals, they do have an effect on the community and on society. Because as a kid, especially if you grew up without, let's say, a male figure in your life, you're going to look for influences in media more often. You're gonna look at it from music, from what you're watching on TV, the sports and the athletes and all of these different things. And so, yeah, I think the way that especially black women and black men are portrayed absolutely has an effect.
Now, in the comments, Ebony says, it's hurting. We have no healthy depictions of marriages. And I think that is definitely true because before in TV, we had the Huxtables. So we were like, we wanted to be like the Huxtables. We had, who else? Family Matters. You know, we had, we had like really great examples. I mean, even like in the movies, like we had like, what's that movie? Like even movies, they talked about getting married, like The Best Man. Like, you know, it was kind of great, but
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Best Man was probably best movie to pick up, but-
woods. You know, you seen them get in love, and then eventually they got married. You know, like
Oh,
there was
did
a
you go
lot
for
of
The Wood?
no.
I know. I was
right,
like,
I'm
hey, that was a
thinking-
dope
okay,
movie,
okay,
but
okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna say that was
I
a.
don't think you're getting better.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Hey, that was a dope movie, but it
doing
wasn't
terrible.
nah.
Y'all, somebody save me.
We were
Drop one.
actually just talking about like TV families and stuff like that. We were just like 2 days ago. I don't know, but like even like looking at Bel Air, you know, the spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you on your toes every episode because it's like I'm like you better not mess up Uncle Phil.
Mm-hmm.
You better not mess up Aunt Vera. But it's like y'all, if you watched it, you know they be messing with us.
Yeah.
I'm like, why y'all doing that? And then I don't know if y'all ever saw. I stopped that a long time ago. I shut it down real quick. What was that? I think it was the show Oprah Winfrey did. It was like Greenleaf. Oh,
The church stuff.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
really.
I've heard about that one.
Yeah, that's
I'm happy you just heard about it. I wouldn't even watch it. Some people, it may be
it
your
was-
speed. It's
it
more of a
was
woman
good.
thing. I know. See, women love it, but it's just like that's too much drama. That drama is not healthy for us because at the same time, like I grew up in a house with a bunch of women that watch Lifetime all the time, all day. So if we're gonna talk about like is the media feuding this war that we have on social media? Yes, it could possibly be because growing up, my sisters watch this Lifetime movies all the time, and when they get in situations, they are like on edge about men because they'll watch men be animals
That you.
on
the Hate a Man
TV.
Network.
all
Wait and
the
Exhale.
time.
We did have Wait and
The
Exhale.
Hate a Man Network Lifetime.
Oh man,
Yes,
yeah, we
yes.
did have some bad movies growing up. Never mind, you guys. I'm sorry, because like I remember
They've been working on us. We ain't even see it.
yeah, like even
Blindsided.
I guess even back then we did have a lot of love songs back then though. We did, but then we also had just like I'm thinking
Better
about Wait
put
and
that woman
Exhale, and I'm thinking
first.
about that song, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that was an interesting song because it had you ready for a breakup every time, Now in the comments they're saying shout out to April for tuning back in. She said the movies and music has definitely played a role. Herbalist Table says, yes, the music and movies of today perpetrate a negative view of our people today. Every time you see us, we're doing drugs, gang activity, struggling single black mothers, etc. And Ebony said all we had was movies like Love and Basketball, The Wood, Wait and Exhale. They all showed exhibiting unhealthy attachment styles, which is so true. Because even I watched that movie as I got older, and she was like, he's a good man, Savannah. And I say, oh, wait, that's where that came from. Because like, it was going all around social media. And I was like, no, we got to let him go. But it's just like, man. What
Hey,
was
look, it started off as a TV show, and then it became the voice in your head. You be dating this man who beating on you, treating you crazy, and in the back of your head, you hearing that voice.
Yeah.
He a
Oh.
good man, Nikki.
Yeah. I'm like, no.
He a good man, April.
Well, shout
He
out
a
to
good
Monique
man,
for tuning in.
Ebony.
Hey, Monique, she's tuning in. Monique, she said it was good. They dragged it, though. And then also Ebony said we talked about, Crooklyn. Crooklyn was, I think it was.
Shout out to
Ooh.
Monique. Thank you for tuning in.
Okay, so Ebony got really deep into this one. Because I was like, dang, Crooklyn was a good one. But then she said, we talked about Crooklyn and how it painted the black family, pushing adultification on young black girls, bickering families, and more. And I was just about to say, Crooklyn was kind of good. But then, dang, when you get into the deep of it, then it's like, dang. And then she said, Tyler Perry movies are trash.
Oh man,
Very trash.
ooh.
Hey, that man's
might
smart, though. He know how to reel you in.
Yeah.
Because he making money like it's funny because the reason why I say this is like we all know, like we already know the plot. The plot is always the same. But when he come out with a movie, people still paying to see it.
Yeah.
It's always the same plot. It's like you gonna hate this man, and then another. Some cases, sometimes it's like another man's gonna come in and he's gonna be like the magic man. But one man is gonna be like extreme, like he gonna be an extreme devil, and the next man gonna come save the day. That's the story.
Yeah, that's true.
And the women always sad and taken advantage of and been beaten in. It's
like it's the same story.
They always perfect victims.
Yeah,
everything they've ever done is
perfect
good.
victim, yeah.
They good, wholesome people, and they just happen to find the worst person in their city.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What that does for women, you know, what that does for women when you're watching movies all the time and you're saying, like, you watch every Tyler Perry movie and you're watching these quote unquote quote perfect women that find these men who appear to be perfect in the beginning, and then they just be on demon time. Like every single movie after movie after movie after. What is that gonna do to a woman mentally when she's like in a dating pool? What is that gonna do to her emotionally?
Yo, that make me have this question. So let's talk about gender roles, right?
Ooh.
So I know some people like to say that they have some tension, you know, and it come off different because different people have different expectations of what the man should do or what the woman should do. But what are y'all thoughts on like just gender roles in general? In 2025, I should say, because everybody want to be on the same level. So what's up with gender roles?
As the only wife here, what do you think?
Just throw it right at me. No, how I feel about gender roles now. I feel like all right, there's things that I feel like women definitely can do better than a man, obviously. And I feel like there's things that men can do better than a woman. And
Absolutely not. No, I'm joking.
Y'all hear that?
I'm joking.
But also, I do also feel like, you know, there should be more of a partnership when it comes to marriage.
Yeah.
Especially if, you know, if everybody's in the house working, we need to be going at it as a partnership.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and sometimes my husband still even come in and be like, you need help with something, because he also know that being a stay-at-home mom is a taxing job. Like, you know, and it's just like homeschooling. Like, I just don't stay at home, y'all. I don't just sit at home. I wish that would be nice, huh? Like, everything will be perfect if that. But there are things that I can do better. But also, he also comes in and we kind of operate this like more like a partnership. When I'm lacking, he can come in, and when he's lacking, you know, I can come in, and we just like lift each other up. You know, now there are some things that, you know, most of the time I cook all the time, right? You know, most of the time, you know, but there are mornings he's gonna wake up and he's just gonna start cooking because he see that I'm still sleeping. He's like, I'm gonna let her sleep because I know she's tired.
And I'm not the best cook.
Yeah. But he'll make some breakfast. I think the kids prefer that. Yeah. And, you know, or he'll be like, you know, I'll do lunch today, or I'll do dinner, you know, and it's something simple he'll make, but at the same time, he's like, he's doing that just so he can help out and make sure that I'm not, you know, overwhelmed, or he can read my cues and stuff like that. So it's like, I feel like there are things that women can do good, and there's things that men can do good. But also, I feel like if we see the best marriages, if you see your partner is struggling, help him out. Just help him out, because look, Monique said she agreed, partnership, because if we're both working, we both should help with the kids and home, you know, because I'd be tired too. And that's true, you know, like there's things, but I feel like there's more, there's things that, yeah, but it shouldn't just be like only the woman is going to do these things, just because, yes, sometimes we can't be, look, sometimes I might need him to put a load of clothes in the washer, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Karen Wright, one of my mother's favorite songs growing up was by Karen White, and she was talking about I can't be your superwoman.
Oh yeah,
I can't do everything for you and then get the bare minimum of your affection and attention. And that always kind of resonated with me, because if someone was going to go to that level, those links for you, you would think, you know, a good exchange would be attention and affection. But to your question about gender roles, I think in order to distort the conversation, we get too specific on this. Because realistically, gender roles, I don't think are about washing dishes or doing the laundry or maintaining kids. Every couple, every situation is going to be different based on what you're good at, based on what you enjoy doing. When we're talking about gender roles, we're just talking about things that are typically the case, but everybody's different. An example would be that, or to my point with this is most of the feminine women that I've met, let me put it this way. Every 4 to 6 months, they feel like they got to rearrange something just because things can't be in the same spot, or they want to clean behind something that nobody ever saw. They typically find a stress relief or coping mechanism in cleaning. Getting up early in the morning, just pine-sawing the whole house down. They tend to find comfort and find a relaxing. They're simple things to do. And if you're on top of them, they're not difficult. Right. I think if you combine poor planning and poor habits with housework, then you end up with a disaster. And so I think part of what happens with the gender roles is that we just haven't established why we're doing this. Mm-hmm. You're not, as a wife, you're not doing the cooking and the cleaning because that's your job. You're doing it because you want to. That's the part of this that you want to bring to the table. Right. These are the skills that you are good at, and this is going to help the family, because if one of you can cook, that means that he can do something else. Mm-hmm. And then if he's out working and you got the kids, he's going to come in knowing that you're doing those things. Like, men, we spend most of our times worried about people outside of ourselves. We're not going to forget about you. But at the same point, I also don't want to come home. You've been sitting here all day. The house is dirty. There's no food cooked. The kids is mad. And you got an attitude. Ooh. What are we doing here?
That is definitely true, because I feel like you definitely got to be on it. You definitely got to be on it. You got to have your schedule and stuff like that. A lot of times we do a partnership, more of like a partnership, because we're out, getting clients or, doing different things like that. So it's like we're normally out together and, handling business outside the house, with photography or whatever it may be. And it's like a lot of times we're busy and we're out. So it's like, we're going to come back home. We're going to tackle everything together and get it done. But it's like every relationship, it definitely has to work. But that's so true of a statement. Like, when I was home most of the time, when he came home, I tried to make sure this house was clean, and also staying on top of the rules that he make. Like, look, y'all, no toys in the living room at all. Like, keep it in your room, because that helps out too. But having those rules and the schedule, that definitely helps, like, so much, So it's like that, I want to, like, shout out some of these comments too. Some people are talking, chatting, typing. Let's see. Candace Chantel, she says she doesn't believe in gender roles. She's in a queer relationship, but she believes in balance, strength and weakness, and simply just meeting the needs of the home. If one is home, then more than other, the other one can. I'm sorry, y'all. If one is home, then the other can support as need be. It is important for the working partner to still be aware of how much goes into taking care of the home. You may be out working all week, but just to leave all the responsibilities on one partner at home is unrealistic. And that's true, especially when you got kids. Look, especially my kids ain't home all day. So it's like food, constantly washing dishes, constantly cleaning, constantly selling people and stuff like that, teaching. Like, so it's like, there's a lot. So he definitely comes in and he be like, what you need, or do you need a break? Do you need some time? Do you want to go step away and stuff like that? So he's really good about that. But yeah, definitely. I guess even in queer relationships, it would be that way.
If work is taking up all of your spouse time, then they don't have any time for you. So I mean, if you gotta help them to help you or to help your relationship, I mean, just do it. I mean, if you sitting around the house watching your partner slave, then I mean, your marriage, your relationship not gonna last long. Now, as far as like, who was it? the last comment, Candace said, you know, she's in a corporate relationship, so she don't believe in gender roles. But I love how she expressed she still understand the concept. The concept is like, so if we don't have an understanding of who's doing what, then how can we assure that everything is going to be covered? Something is going to get left undone.
Yeah.
You know, even like, you know, I was telling on JB, there are some things that my wife is like specifically over in the house. So when the kids like for dietary, that's one. So when the kids say, hey, I want to eat this, I say, go ask your mama. Now, because it's like that, my kids can never get over me. You know, they can't never, not just me, but us. So if mama said, you know, no, you can't eat this, our kids can't play. Like, you know what? I'm going to play mama against daddy. I'm going to go to daddy. I'm going to ask daddy because I know he going to say, yeah, no, he not. Because daddy already know that mama's home with you most of the time. So mama know everything that you're eating. So I can possibly overload you on sugar. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to discipline, that's my thing. So the kid's not going to go to the mama and be like, hey, mama, or crying to mama, you know, and say, hey, mama, stop, help, or whatever. No, that's not going to go. She's going to say, what your daddy tell you? You know, because we understand what we are doing, our roles within the home.
Yeah. And that could be switched up because, you know, just like Ebony, she made a point that some men like to cook, you know, and they'd rather do the cooking. So I feel like for every house, you don't have to model your house like anybody else's house. You model it how it will flow. Because if she can't cook, but you like to cook, you know, or whatever, however it go, you know, like maybe you can help her, give her some simple meals, but like model it to how you go. Just because you know, even like one of our friends, he says that, you know, hey, if this person is better at finances, then let them be over the finances. If you're not good at finances and making budgets and sticking to it, then don't you try to do it because you're gonna make everybody drown. You know, so just like put people in places where they can flow and they can work, because it's just like we're gonna make this marriage work. Everything, this house is gonna float a whole lot better. You know, that's what I feel.
Herbalist would say, don't cook my food if you can't cook. Hey, I'm 100%.
Oh my gosh! Look,
hey, look, say that. If you can't cook, say that.
Yeah,
I may learn how to cook, but you ain't. I'm not about to be sitting up here looking at this food, praying, not saying my grace, but praying, hoping that I can digest it. No, we're not doing that.
No, but that's real. But I do feel like you gotta do what works best for your household. And you know, we are, you know, also recognizing that, look, stay at home moms, you know, do a whole lot. Moms do a whole lot. And you know, I feel like nobody should have to come from work and deal just with the kids, and another person get to sit down. I feel like, no, we look, let's get in, let's do it together. You tackle this, I tackle this. We gonna make this. Everybody gonna be asleep by 8:30. You get what I'm saying?
You know, if I could add one thing, I don't know, we may move on from here or whatnot, but I think as people, we have to get back to understanding, keeping the most important thing the most important thing. And so in relationships, and we got to get back to the habit of, before we start making actions, before we start reacting, before we start doing things, remember, why is it that we doing it? You know, is the goal to have a successful marriage at the end of this? Is the goal to, I want to be the last woman that he's with. I want to be the last man that she's with. If that's the goal, then our actions should support that. That means we don't be needing to fight and bicker about things as much as we need to be coming up with solutions. And sometimes that means we have to be willing to be vulnerable enough with each other and say, hey, I can't handle all of this. Yeah. And so I think if we can get back to understanding that if we are making decisions with the goal in mind, we'll be a lot more successful.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Now, and I mean, I'm not in a successful relationship and have not been, but I know the difference between a traditional gender role and gender roles of 2025. Yeah. And what most people in the comments are saying is completely true. You know, it's more of a partnership than, oh, you have to do this. You will only cut the grass, or you only wash the dishes, or it's a partnership. Wherever you see there's lack, somebody else should be there to fulfill that lack of the other person.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I'm going to read this and then we're going to kind of segue. Candace said, she said, it's also a good question of when to bring up it's also a question of when to bring this up while dating. Strength, weaknesses, or does one have to move in with another to discover this? I feel like definitely you need to bring this up while dating. Like when you get serious, it ain't got to be first date. Like, well, what's your strengths and what's your weaknesses? What's your personality type? You ain't got to go first date do that, but definitely it should definitely come up just so we can see. Because I feel like every good relationship, like where I'm weak, you're strong. And we just pick each other up just like that. Like it's easy to walk like that. Versus if we both strong at the same things and both weak at the same things, I feel like it's just we're trying to get to figure out.
You end up redundant.
Yeah.
I think that's a good question because it's really not all about like what you can do. It's about what you're willing to do. So like when you guys are on a date and you're discussing like what you can do good, and you realize, okay, well, dang, none of us about to curse. None of us could cook. You're like, oh, what, good meeting you. You gonna pay for this meal and move on? No, it don't work like that. You could actually sit there and discuss. Okay, after you realize none of us could cook, you can ask, are you willing to learn how to cook? Like, what can you cook good? Can you cook good enough to until you learn how to cook? If you're willing to,
Can you follow a recipe?
Because I mean, being real, my strengths now were not my strengths when we got married. So those things that would have been like a red flag for my wife, are the things that would have been a red flag for me with her, not necessarily. Let's not say red flag, but something I would have crossed off the list, and something that she would have crossed off the list is now on the list. If I'm gonna be real, my wife wasn't a great cook before we got married. She was okay, but she's really good now.
Oh man, your birthday coming up or something?
No, I'm being honest. I'm being honest. That's what we do here. She's really good now. If you know me and you know my wife, I'm gonna always tell y'all. I done put her on so many people's chef schedule to cook some food. Everybody know I'm always bragging off her food. So I'm gonna be honest. When I first met her, she wasn't this good, but she always cooked.
That got better.
It got better.
Practice makes perfect. He can't wait for them that lamb tonight, huh?
He must have been a steak or something.
Come on, Monique with me. She said I wasn't a good cook eater, but I'm a beast now. Come on.
I got a question.
I'm sorry, that's not Monique. What's it? No, it was Monique. The chat is just moving fast.
All right, I got a question for you, Richard Root. So, before on an earlier show, you was telling us a story about your daughter and her drawing. Now, did you have that same energy for, your wife when she couldn't cook? I mean, when she wasn't as good of a cook.
Yeah, I did. I didn't. Her food wasn't never bad. So when I say she wasn't as good of a cook now, so I never say this is really good, and she knows. So whenever her food was really good, what would I say? What's something I would say?
You can sell this.
There you go. So when did you start hearing me saying you could sell this?
When?
Was it in the beginning phases of our marriage?
Only about a few things, because I used to make like these chicken tenders, and my chicken tenders used to be real.
Yeah,
nice,
they were
be real nice.
Y'all, I wanted to.
Like it was seasoned. Like
I had some real beef with my dog. I'm just gonna say that I had some real beef, real beef, in all caps in red, real beef with my dog, because it ate them chicken tenders.
Oh my gosh! But he has definitely always been true. But I do also feel like, because kind of going back to the topic, is there a wall in social media? I feel like because a lot of times I see people, the gender role subject always pop up, But it's like also, if we understand how to basically move as a partnership, it wouldn't be all those arguments and different things like that. And also just like even how you are very honest with like my products and just even with me, one time we was getting ready to go take pictures and we wasn't even engaged yet, and I did my hair. I did a little quick weave. Now I thought my hair was cute, but he was like, it looked like it's sitting on top of your head. He was so
That's your answer, Prime.
That's the answer.
He was very honest. I still went to go take pictures with my little quick weave, but he was very honest. And, I feel like we do need that honesty, even within relationships, even within our souls, within friendships, because before people was able just to be honest. Now we talked about this in one show. We got to sugarcoat everything. We got to dress it up real nice. We got to say it a certain way. We got to understand their personality type and their love language and everything.
They zodiac
before
signs.
you're like, oh, you can't just tell a Cancer that, so it's like,
You
it's
might
crazy.
as well. After you learn all of these tactics to like communicating to people who can't take communication, you might as well like just shoot for the stars. You can start a business and be successful after studying. If you can study an individual out like that and communicate like that, you can do anything.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is I think if you really learned all of those communication skills and you put in the work to be able to read people like that, what you actually end up doing is having a lot less conversations. Because you would be so...
That's facts,
quickly deduce that this person
What's your zodiac sign? I can't talk to you.
You'd be able to quickly deduce whether or not that conversation was going to be worth having.
Exactly.
Most of those skills you wouldn't even use.
And everybody is not the same.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to nobody until I find out their zodiacs. That's gonna be my excuse. I'm like, no, I'm very social.
But I found out you was a Virgo. I'm like,
Didn't they be talking about like Mercury rising and retrograde? I was like, you know what? That's too much of the stuff for me. I can't go that far.
Yeah, just when I thought I learned something about zodiacs, there was like
they went deeper.
It's like you have like, what's your secondary zodiac? Like, what's the zodiac you growing into? I don't know.
The sun.
My
and the
sun
moon.
is in Jupiter.
Yeah, I was like,
My rising is in Sagittarius.
I guess I don't know myself then.
Nah.
I'm doing all these reflections with Edgar Prime and I still don't know myself.
You don't know you.
You don't know you.
Oh my gosh. No,
And everybody is the same.
Man.
I'm definitely not gonna know you. Somebody else. I gotta study me for real, before I learn somebody else.
Yeah. Now this is crazy, but this is actually a really good session. I wanted to.
It's always a good session.
I'm not always here. But I wanted to ask y'all another question. Since we were on the topic of the internet stuff, do y'all really think the internet battles, or whenever they have these battles or these conversations that pop up, do they actually spill over into like everyday lives or your relationships or into the real world interactions? And if they do, how do we actually prevent that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love your follow-up question. But if a man goes onto social media and he sees, if he sees a whole fight on social media, a rant on social media about women, all women are trash, no woman is good. If he's in a relationship, he's going to come off, even if he's not. But let's say, look at it from the perspective of him not being in a relationship. When he comes off of social media and go back into the real world, he's never going to have real intentions for those women because of all of the content, the content that he saw on social media that told him he's wasting his time. Now, we can do the same thing for the women because we already know it's 10 times worse for the women because the material that's on social media is mostly women ranting about men who have hurt them. Mm-hmm. So when these women read these posts, and I'm only speculating, correct me if I'm wrong, it can push the woman more into the independent mindset, because if she used to look at a man as a source of security, and she's reading on social media that you can't find security in a man because all men are dogs, then now she's her fight to become an independent woman is gonna be even more so. Now that's when it gets hard, because now when it's time for her to get in a relationship with a man, if she changed her mind, now she's forced herself into survival mode, which she really didn't have to, where she's now independent, and now when it's time to be dependent or coexist with a man, she doesn't know how. like Prime said last week, I believe it was last week, he said like what women call independent, men call just living life. Men, we don't desire, we never desire to be independent. We just live life and we want to settle down with a woman. Now, I'm not saying that's all men, because I know people will come for me. Some men, all right. But
Yeah.
there's always an exception.
But yeah, definitely, you have those moments where where it gets into your subconscious mind, and then it's not until something similar happens and you pop up and you be like, oh dang, you a narcissist, like. It just be like, like I remember that was going around and everybody was a narcissist. It's like, it was like, you're a narc.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just like, gosh, all right. But it's like, it definitely plays a big part. But, guys, we about to drop into prime time.
Prime time.
With Edgar Prime.
All right.
Yes. So he has a post for us today. Oh, wait, hold up, y'all. Hold up. I don't know where it went. Hold on. Get yourself ready, because I'm about to pull it up. It's just, I don't see it. Hold on. Let me get it up. Oh, yeah. But no, we're going to keep vibing on this same little topic real quick. But while I get this pulled up. But yeah, definitely.
I'll be praying in the background, because I really think his topic right now is going to it's going to get some people riled up.
But, while she's doing that, I did want to chime in, and I want to say that to answer your question, I don't actually think that there's a war. I think what we're seeing is we're seeing the differences between men and women, and they're just amplified due to social media. Whereas a lot of the women, they're getting on there to vent and to express and to kind of share their story, to kind of like have a kumbaya moment almost, to find a community of, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Whereas men, on the other hand, were very direct. And so we hear our women getting online saying, hey, we got this problem. What do we do about it? And then sure enough, a man decides, hey, I'm going to do the research. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to give you a very direct and clear answer. And before he can actually get to the main point, it's already offensive.
Yeah.
Because they weren't wanting the answer. They were wanting the vent. And so also with the lack of, I can't remember who said this. Someone said this not too long ago, but they were like, the black community is the only one that's ran like a matriarchy. And because that's the case, there's such an absence of masculinity that a lot of women don't understand how to take in the male love or male direction or male influence, because they're not used to that direct language. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes when they are experiencing men, those men want to sleep with them. They want something from them. But when you're talking to a man who's just trying to help you, they're not used to getting that type of attention, that type of direct attention. And so it comes off as being attacked, because they're just not used to that blunt, direct way of being addressed. And so social media just kind of amplifies it, and we think we're fighting. We're just not understanding that we're different. And so their goal's different, our goal's different. It looks like it's a fight, but honestly, men don't engage in that fight.
Yeah.
Like someone was like, well, why do, I was listening to a panel and the women were like, well, why don't men get online and talk about how bad their baby mothers are? It was like, because she's the mother of my kid.
Right.
I'd look crazy. Like, what am I going to say? Other than, yes, she's a beautiful black woman that I had a kid with and the relationship didn't work, because anything else makes me look bad.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. You picked her?
Like at the end of the day, that was a choice of mine, so I can't it doesn't benefit me to make her look bad. Mm. So we could never actually engage in that war, because men would never do it.
Yeah.
You can't complain about all your bad decisions. Like, you sit up there talking about all 5 of your baby mamas and how trash they are. You, as a man, we see that as you complaining about all your bad decisions. It's like,
exactly.
You went work for the garbage truck, and now you like, man, all the trash there stink. Mm-hmm. I gotta change my shoes so often. I gotta take a bath 2 times a day.
It was your choice.
That was your decision.
Mm-hmm. Go work somewhere else.
True.
That's true.
Man, Prime, you are full of wisdom, and I'm glad I actually got a
Appreciate
chance
that.
to meet you. But look, before we go into your segment,
Yeah,
if
go
I can
ahead.
ask just one more question.
Go ahead.
So I know that
He
got a whole
changing the
bunch.
order of the show.
Go ahead.
I'm messing with you.
So I mean, I know they got a lot of people that's listening. So what's some, and you guys can answer as well. What's some advice would you give to black people who are navigating these same discussions that we having in their everyday lives?
That's a good question. Me, especially as a man who grew up with a single mother, and I love my mother. I would say I have one of the better of not in a bad situation. But what I would say is that men who are in that similar situation have to understand that there's a cost for what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So if you're in that environment, you need to seek leadership. I think a lot of us who've grown up in single parent homes or from broken families, we have to repair ourselves before we're going to be able to lead anyone. And I'm not big on the therapy route for men. I think that's a feminine way of handling things, not to disparage anyone's particular route. But I think for men, you need to get into a gym. I recommend a trainer if you're not going to go push yourself. You need a dark place, a room where you can just be by yourself, and then you need a group of men who care about you. Steel is going to sharpen steel. The physical labor that you put yourself is going to help you get through your emotions. It's going to help you deal with the reality of your situation. And that dark room is you're going to have to confront yourself because nobody is coming to save us.
Yeah.
Facts.
But you got those answers inside of you. And that group of men, that's where the steel is going to start in the steel. It's because when you start to get ready to blame everybody but yourself, they're going to say, hold on, homie.
Yeah.
You blaming all your problems and your bad decisions. And that's what's going to bring you back and get you back on track.
You know what's funny?
Accountability.
I'm happy you say that because I'm like, when I go to my male friends and I talk to my male friends, I'm like, that's what's up. Thank you for giving me that perspective. But it's always the accountability push back on me. So I'm like, you know what? I need my wife to make some friends so that she can have this same experience. So I see what you're saying. Like, that's why I'm like, in that sense, what would have been done differently for me in a therapy session other than what I got from that moment? So I'm not down talking on therapy because I know some people lives have been changed by therapy. But what I'm saying is like what the brother just said. If you had that, you probably wouldn't have even needed no therapy.
Yeah.
And the reason I say it's more of a feminine, and like for your wife doesn't need that group of friends. That's not going to do a whole lot for her.
She need therapy.
No.
That's what you saying?
Wait, hold on. Me and Nikki are cool. Don't try and put me into that now. Hold on. But what your wife wants to do is she wants to get around other women who have a similar mindset, who are about family, who are about community, who are about being positive, because it's going to be the think group. They're going to do the most good because they are around like-minded people who are moving in a positive direction. They don't need to bounce off of each other like men do.
Yeah.
Like competitiveness is a part of us. Like we got to do it or it comes out somewhere else. And so you need those men around you to push you. Even if we have a discussion, there's a certain point where you're going to look at it and be like, man, I don't know if I argued my point as well as I could because you were talking with me. And if you have a good conversation with me and I'm like, man, he squashed what I had, what my argument was, I got to come back with it. I got to come with more information. I got to be able to relay that better. And those are just some of the subtle ways we get better but when we're having those interactions.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like women, just like you said, we got to talk. We're just talking. We just need to be around somebody because that's what rubs off and stuff like that. So I feel like women, therapy can, help or whatever unpack a lot of things as well. But also just having that good sisterhood, that friendship circle where you're heading in the same direction. That's a big one. That definitely is like one. That's one thing me and one of my friends, we always talk about, like, where are we heading? Where are we heading? You know, and what are we doing? Where are we going? And that's like a really big thing for us. But let's jump into prime time with Edgar Prime, because I got it all together now. Look, they said, look. Herbalist Tables was reminding us. He said, "Don't cheat us out on that prime time, family. We are not cheating you out. It is prime time with Edgar Prime right now, you guys, and he has amazing posts. So here we go. You up?
All right, it is that time. So the post we have today, on the surface, looks real. Looks innocent. My baby's home. My MF baby. My baby is home. Lord, thank you." So why do I bring that up? Because the very woman who wrote this post, there was a report made where the son that came home actually ended both her and her young son's life. After this post was made, that's what happened. And so I just want to share a few statistics, and this is going to get a little bit dark, but I want to bring this all full circle. Is that in a single mother home, children are at 4 times greater risk of poverty, 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teen, more likely to have behavioral problems, more likely to face abuse and neglect, 2 times more likely to die as an infant, more likely to abuse drugs or alcohol, more likely to go to prison, more likely to suffer obesity. Here's the reality, is that these single mother homes are building broken or underdeveloped men, but more importantly, emotionally unstable men. And here's the reality. After the age of 13, most able-bodied men become an actual threat to their mothers. And that difference is only going to get bigger. It's never going to be small again. And so the big problem that we're not looking at right now with this celebrating of single motherhood, these women choosing to get pregnant on their own, is that there's going to come a point where you are in the room with a monster without control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Men and women are different. We have to be able to understand how to control our emotions. We have to understand stoicism to a degree. We need healthy outlets. But if your primary influence is a woman, you're going to pull in those emotional habits, those emotional tendencies. And that is where this is coming from. I don't know the specific situation. I'm sure the story itself gets muddier. But what I'm saying is that this is the danger of emotionally erratic and underdeveloped men. I always say that a underdeveloped woman will destroy her family, but an emotionally unstable, underdeveloped man will shoot up a school. There's levels to this. Mm-hmm. I call the man a beast for a reason. You need to be the beast to do what you need to do. But if you're not taught to control it, that's why so many of our black kids are in prison right now, because that's where emotional men go. They go to jail.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that 100% any man would have survived it, but I would have to say if there was a man in that home, it's less likely everybody goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What y'all thoughts on that? Come on, prime time. What y'all thoughts on that?
But
that's really big. Go ahead.
It was just a sad occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw the post, it was heartbreaking, because you can see like the excitement, like the woman, and you see this a lot in our neighborhoods, in the hoods that we grew up in. These women, they see their children, their male sons that people will refer to as YNs today. They see them as angels.
King Von's mom.
Yeah, precisely. So she's like, my baby is coming. That ain't no baby. That ain't no baby. That news report shows it. That was not a baby. He was a monster. But there's so many women in my hood, where I came up in, that look at these monsters and they call them their babies. I had a talk with my mama one day, and I was like, that ain't me. That image that you got in your head of me, it ain't me. And I had a real talk with my mom one day, and I told her, this is who I am. and she still accept me as her baby.
That's why reflection is very important, and that's why us men, we're going to have to go and do it ourselves, because ain't nobody coming to save us. They make too much money on us going to jail. They not going to do it for us. We got to go do it.
We got a question in the chat. Well, one, Ebony said she's seen a video where this one young man was fighting his mama on live, and that's exactly of what she thought of when she heard this. Candace, she says, so is a single father home statistically better? And I know y'all got some stats, so that's why I definitely wanted to read this question. She said, because my kids did not receive half the presence and care while living with their father for a year. People who are not emotionally intelligent affect our children, not just a single mom home. Women are capable of raising strong men. And I want to say this before, because I know you're about to hop in. I do want to say, like, so we're not saying that women can't raise. There are women that have raised phenomenal men, you know. Now, they didn't raise them to be, you know, the best with the masculine side, but we're not saying that you can't, because I do believe emotional intelligence, and, you know, but as a mom, you have to develop that strength and that masculinity and that discipline to, you know, make sure that they go on the right path. But I know y'all got some statistics.
I want to
so
say something real quick, because I know
that.
Prime about to go in. I'm going to say this real quick. That mentality is what's destroying us. That women can raise good men. That's destroying us. If you don't hear anything else I ever say, that's destroying us. If the reason why is, and I think it was Prime who said it before, Eda Marquise, but a monkey can't raise a lion cub to be the best lion that he can be. He's going to grow up with monkey tendencies. So if a woman raised a man and you look at that man and you say, oh, he's the epitome of a man, it's because it was some male influences that was prevalent in his life. Same, back to the monkey scenario. If the monkey raised a lion and you looked at him as an adult lion and he resembled the lion, it's because the monkey was smart enough to take the little lion cub and bring it around lions and let that lion raise him. But it's not the monkey who turned that cub into a lion. We got to get rid of that.
I feel like Richard Roots pretty much covered all of it, what I was about to say, but I will just say this, is that the problem with a woman trying to raise a man to be a man is you don't know what it is to be a man. You can only give your perspective of what that is. And that is entirely dependent upon how you feel about men at the time. And that changes every day. Mm-hmm. That changes with every relationship. That changes with every experience. You can't teach a man that way, no matter how you slice it. And then as far as the father didn't give as much direct care, honestly, kids don't need all of that attention. Sometimes mothers overdo it. A lot of that stuff they don't need. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not trying to down it. I am saying that they don't need all of it. They don't need all of it. Your kids don't need the most expensive toy. Most of them will be perfectly fine paying with the box, as long as you don't make them feel bad for playing in the box.
He talking about our kids. If you know our kids, they would have boxes. They would.
If you come to the house,
they would put the toys up and play with the box.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that I'm not trying to speak to your specific situation. I don't know the people involved, but what I will say is that men and women are different, so the parenting styles are going to be different, and you got to have grace and room for, just because it's different doesn't mean it's worse. Sometimes different can be better.
Yeah, that's good.
And typically men don't, there's really no such thing as a single father. You rarely find that. Because men, when you look at men are more likely going to get a female presence involved in that child's life. Mm-hmm. That's why when you look at the statistics for a single father household, the results are always better. Always better. Because first of all, his mother is going to be like, that baby need a woman. So that baby, that woman is going to help out. He may actually get a woman because he sees a need, or he's going to have the mother involved in that child's life.
Mom, aunts.
That's
And to help you out
and the
on that.
aunts.
One of the other reasons why is you're not gonna hear the man say, "I'm the mama and the daddy."
Nah.
A man's never gonna do that. So he's gonna understand his children need that feminine side.
This is not to say that men are perfect. That's not what we're doing. We don't do that. We know a lot of our men are underdeveloped and really truly aren't really fit to be fathers. That's just the reality of what it is.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is the nature of a man versus the nature of a woman.
Yeah. Well, y'all, look, let's stroll in. Look, it's time. Y'all, this has been one, like, really, 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 really good. The comment section, always, like I say, shout out to the comments. No, they don't. They don't hate y'all. Everybody is agreeing. Everybody is getting along. Okay. But no, the comments, like I always say, y'all make the show. I thank y'all. Shout out. I seen so many new people in the thing. I seen somebody new comment, the lot goat. I seen she's in here. She had she said she agreed. I feel like we can teach them how to receive and give love, but we can't teach them how to be men because we are not a man. Therefore, we don't know what it takes to be one. My pop said, ask a woman what a good man is, and she's gonna explain a simp.
Oh.
Mic drop.
Wait.
Mic drop.
Now, Edgar Prime is going to always want you
Hallelujah.
here. Yeah, because, like...
I think Edgar Prime wants your daddy here.
I think he sent her here.
Bring him on the show.
No, y'all. But no, seriously, this was like honestly, a great show. We about to go into the Blackout with Richard Roots. All right.
This is the Blackout with Richard Roots. And this is the portion of our show where we conclude. So the Blackout is all about concluding the show. So we talk about a lot of tough topics, and we want to make sure that we leave with a positive note. I know y'all probably thinking last week he did not do that. I took a curve last week. But like Prime said, it's really not a war. It's us trying to express ourselves in the best way we can. So when we do see these things, I would just encourage everybody not to look at it. Understand that this is a hurt person talking. If you look at it from that perspective, you won't feed into it. And also understand the damage that it creates when you share those posts and participate and feed into it. And with that, we want to always remind you guys, Black women, we love you.
Yes, and
I'm gonna say it again. I want every man, because I knew Edgar Prime wasn't ready for me. Black women, we love you.
Yes.
Thank you, JB.
He did too.
Hey man, thank y'all.
Yes, and Black men, we value you, and Black children, you are golden. So y'all go out there and do something amazing, and see y'all next time on the Black Radio. All right, bye.
Thank you for tuning in, KBOB 89.9.